I came home from the service, and Mommy had known some friends of mine, or had met some friends of mine uh, while I was away. So a couple of her girlfriends were dating a couple of my friends or something, and they started talking. I guess they told the guys would tell stories to Mommy. Oh, wait, Eddie Cunningham gets home. We were all going out one night where we were all meeting each other for the first time, and Mommy was with the crowd, and I was with my friends, and oh, this is Eddie, this is Pat, whatever it is. And it basically met her in a bar. I think it was at the Inwood Lounge we were at. She's so easy to talk to, and she didn't put anybody down or anything like that.
I guess I first realized that something was going on with Grandma probably about 15 years ago. I would talk to her every day. I was the first one to have kids, and she was a super involved grandma. Yeah, I talked to her at least once a day, and I just slowly noticed that she would kind of repeat the same questions to me over and over again. Like, I know I do that too, but I mean, she could ask me the same thing twice within a 3-minute span of time. And I used to ask her about it and mention it to my dad. And my mom would just sort of blame it on the fact that she, maybe wasn't paying attention or was multitasking and doing too many things at the same time.
What was it like having to move out of your home that you had for years?
Which, here?
West Nyack, yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. Terrible because under the conditions we left, Mommy had gotten sick, and at that point I knew I couldn't take care of her anymore.
I did convince them to go see a neurologist, and their first neurologist kind of dismissed them, said nothing was wrong, took them to somebody else, and eventually she was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and it wasn't even early Parkinson's at that point. It was, kind of moving along. And my dad was diagnosed with it too. His is definitely a much slower version. His symptoms are managed well with his medications, but my mom, she was technically, they call it Parkinson's plus, most likely Lewy body dementia.
And the sad part was about it, Mommy didn't understand what was happening, so when we left, she never got to go home. She went straight from the hospital to Carrollton next door, so she never got a chance to say goodbye to her home. She still talks about she has her clothes. Last night when she fell out of the chair, she was going back to get her clothes, and she had to pick up a paycheck at work. She thought she was going back. Yeah, it was terrible. Terrible because it wasn't done under our control. And we reacted to it, unfortunately. For Tara, that it worked for Tara with her worked. She did looking up here. It turned out to be pretty good. Mommy still doesn't understand where she is most of the time. I go through it every single day, explaining what happened.
You want something to drink, Mom? You want a week mimosa?
I do sometimes get a little frustrated with my father because he will talk very much about how terrible it was because it was so out of their control and etc., etc. But, really the signs were there for 5 years. I think it was acute signs that what was going on. If you look back really far, you can see things that were happening 15 years ago.
I believe I've become more caring towards her. But Mommy, at times, she doesn't know who I am. She may lash out. Sometimes I lose my temper, which I've been known to have a temper, and I have to sit down and get back to square one as quickly as possible and keep reminding myself what things have changed here. Mommy will never be the same, that I know.
Classic Parkinson's, like I think what my dad has, is a much more slow progressing and better managed with the medications versus what my mom has. And you know, I lost my grandfather to Alzheimer's, so I'm the oldest of four, so I probably remember what that looked like more than my siblings. So when everything was kind of going down with my mom, I was sort of raising these alarms and nobody was really listening, including my dad, because, you know, he lived with her and he wouldn't be quite as shocked to see the progression, because I was going, you know, a few weeks at a time without seeing my mom, and then I'd see her and I'd really notice the difference. Whereas, you know, when you see somebody day to day, you don't see it.
You okay? Now you leave me. Now I leave you. I leave you tired.
I do everything now. I do the wash. There isn't anything I don't do. So Mama just can't do it. If there's something that has to happen, I've got to find a way to get it done. And sometimes it's a little difficult because of that I need somebody to be here with Mommy. I can't be dragging Mommy all over town. You kind of see the way she is, so she doesn't, you know, matter moving easily anymore. So sometimes I need to make sure I have somebody here before I can go do something. So things get stacked up. So on 3 days a week when we get the extra help, that's when I go and I run around and take care of all the little small things that you wouldn't think, like taking care of dry cleaning and stuff we never thought of.
Hope you guys feeling okay?
I have Parkinson's now.
Mom is having, you know, she has some tough times, some good days, some bad days. But
Yeah.
last few weeks she's actually been pretty good in the scheme of things.
My dad had promised me that he would go look at some assisted living facilities, which I had actually begun touring. I was touring, I think, my 5th one when he called to say they were on their way to the hospital with the 2nd UTI. So when they told him that they were going to keep her for at least a week, ended up being, I think, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, he came with me to Sturgis Ridge to tour. And they happened to have a room available. And again, he was like, I need time to think about it. But I was able to at least say to him, just because there's a room available right now does not mean that there will be one when you make up your mind. So fortunately they had something they could do like a month-to-month lease. So I got him to agree to try it for 6 weeks. I said, live there for 6 weeks and see what you think. And I think he was there less than a week when he said, we need to sell the house. I think he realized the convenience of having other people take care of their meals and their laundry, the importance of having a community around you.
I don't like the idea that I am dependent on people to a certain degree, but and I don't like the idea that I guess maybe, I don't know, whether old enough or whatever that I have to depend on anybody. I'd rather give anything for my independence. But once you get past that and realize there are some things you have to give up, this is not a bad place to be.
Oh my God!
You see that? A thing that I've learned here is every single day when I get up, I try to do something positive or something good. I actually think, maybe I could do something for this person or that person. And I go out and I try to do that. I wish I had been able to do that a lot sooner in my life. And you know what? It makes them feel good. It's a little thing. They get something out of it. And so do I. I probably get more than I give.